Hello again, everybody. We are going to do a Crickett scope mount. The Crickett Scope comes with these rings, so you don't have to buy the rings separate. They will come with it, and the scope mount. So when you're upgrading, you need a scope mount and the Crickett Scope. In the box for the scope, you have the Allen wrench, and that'll loosen up these guys right here. The scope base is a 3/8 inch dovetail, so the mounts that come with it are 3/8, or the rings that come with it, they're to match up to that. You can put whatever scope you want on it, I suppose. If you wanted to put a different one on, you would just need rings that match up to this rail. But right now, this rail is the one that comes from Keystone Sporting Arms. Now, once we get the scope off, there's actually 3 screws here. Let me be safe. Okay, there's 3 screws here. 2 in the front. So there we go. So the 2 in front are Phillips, and the one in the back is straight. And the reason that is because this screw here actually holds the rear peep sight on, and that's a straight screw so that you can adjust that. Well, the 3/8 inch dovetail that your rings will hook onto. Now you see that this is cut out on the back here, and that's what I'm going to show, just so we know how to mount that on. This actually sits on top of this L bracket right here, and this is the adjustment screw for elevation, and then across the top, like I show, that straight screwdriver is what moves for windage on your peep sight. So when you take out these front 2 to put your scope on, you'll also take out that straight screw, take off the peep sight, which is right here, and you want to save it like I did here. You just put it back in the bag that the scope mount. Your peep sight, which goes on just like that, and when you're out sighting it in, you loosen that screw up and you can slide it back and forth, and you'll see there's a tab on there just to help you mark it up. It comes from the factory right around the center, and then you can adjust it a little bit for where you need to go back and forth, and you loosen that up. For vertical, I don't know if we can, yeah, there's the tabs on that, so that marks, there's a mark on the receiver, and there's tick marks on the L bracket. So we're going to loosen this up. Loosen that up, and this guy should slide right up in the air like that. And there is, if I can see it, right there, there's a line on the receiver. You want to line that line up with, or it should be lined up with the center of your elevation. And I should put you on 0 for open sights. Peep sight goes on top here like this. So now we have put on the L bracket where it needs to be, and we've put on our peep sight where it needs to be. And then as you're, I don't know if I can, I don't know how much we can zoom in on that. You see the front sight there, and that's what your sight picture should look like your rear ring should be fuzzy, your front sight post should be clear, and your target should be fuzzy. Have the adjustment if you're going out farther, different ranges, different distances based on your, come on you. There's tick marks here so that you can know how far you're moving it. So if you need to adjust your windage, you loosen this up, raise this up or down just a little bit, you know, as you go along. Again with the top, same thing. Loosen up this screw, slide it left or right a little bit for your windage, tighten it back down, and that's that. So that is how the open sights work on a Crickett. That is how you take off a scope, and now we'll just put it back on. So I got my scope. Oh, that's that guy, okay. Got my scope there, and the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take off that peep sight. And I'm going to put that in the bag that my scope mount came in. Loosen this guy right here so he's free to move up and down. It'll actually come all the way out if you're cleaning it, but it'll just slide right back in. Take your scope mount and set it on top of there. Line up your screw holes. Now you don't want to tighten them all the way, just want to get them started so it'll still move around. Put those in first, then put your rear screw in. Now him you can tighten down, because what's going to happen is it's going to pull. It's going to pull that L bracket, and this mount right here, this space is going to pull them tight. So you can make sure you have this screw loose, tighten this down. These are loose up here, so we tighten this one first, then we push it down on the receiver. Over, tighten this guy down. That's good and tight, and then you push it down on the receiver like that so that it's flat right on your receiver. Some people may or may not know that you need to loosen that up, and it'll be sticking up in the air, and you'll have a lot of correction to do on your scope when you're sighting it in. Once it's down, just push it down. You don't have to push real hard, just hold down on it and tighten that screw up so it doesn't move. And then you can screw your front ones, tighten them up. And then your scope, obviously, mounts are pretty simple. They just clamp right onto this rail. And I'm going to turn it around. The Allen wrench comes with it. And what I'll do is I'll set it up so that the rear can you see that? The rear right here is flush with the back of the mount, and that's just my starting point for all the Cricketts that I've put scopes on, and then you can adjust from there. And one thing that you will notice if you're out loading and with your child, like you should be, one thing that you will notice is when you put the scope on, your fat fingers are going to be, it's going to be hard to load in there. But once your son or daughter gets it down, their fingers don't have a problem putting around in there. And your bolt, you put it back in here again. You squeeze the trigger here for that to slide forward, and And you're ready to go out and sight it in. And that's how you put a scope on a Crickett, or take a scope off, and that's how you adjust the open sights.